what's happening, everyone? Pragmatic Addict here. So, Bob Marley biopic. Why hasn't this been done yet? Has this been done yet? So, I've been looking forward to this movie somewhat, but not hugely, because I have been cautious and mindful of certain things. Plus, biopics just aren't my favorite genre, if I'm being totally honest. Plus, they're just pretty risky and, debatable. But this one I was looking forward to for three reasons. So first off, the director, I've enjoyed his work. Second, this has actually been produced by Bob Marley's family, his widow Rita, as well as his son Ziggy, and, Stephen Marley, so on. Which I will say helped me get, hyped for this movie exceptionally, because I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw the trailer and I saw Kingsley Ben-Adir portraying Bob Marley, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't feeling it. Just, for me, Bob Marley has a very distinct look and everything, but I saw some, featurettes before the movie about, specifically Ziggy Marley talking about Kingsley Ben-Adir's, performance as his father, and he spoke really fondly of him. That gave me a lot of hype and everything.
Kingsley do a great job in an artful way, not trying to mimic my father.
And 3, I'm just a big Bob Marley music fan. Now, as a biopic, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't going into this movie expecting to, pinpoint every factual thing about it, but there was, enough hype for me to see this movie, and there was enough stuff that, again, I was mindful of, where I just had to see the movie to see how it landed. So, what I'm gonna say is that right away, I was happy to see how much Bob Marley background was put into the actual, production of the film. So before the movie starts, there was a small speech that Ziggy made, which was, it was really heartfelt and everything. It was just really short and sweet. Also, there was a production company that I saw, a production card called Tough Gong, and it had Bob Marley's logo on it. So I'd never heard of that before. I don't know if that was if that's a brand new thing, but I was really happy to just see the background in life and roots going into this biopic. Now, for the movie itself, I will say that it didn't start like your typical Hollywood biopic, where it starts with a specific moment, a specific grab as an intro, trying to make you care even more about the characters that you're already going to the movie to see. It just had, again, a really lively feel to it, and based off of that factor, with everything that I was really pleasantly surprised by just going into this film, as an introduction, when I saw Ben-Adir's first screen performance, when I saw his first moment on screen and I heard him talk and I saw the way he looked, I wasn't that concerned. And yes, as an obvious bonus, a very obvious bonus, the soundtrack of the movie, obviously incorporating Bob Marley's music into the film. The times where the music did come on and the certain tracks that were selected, I'm not gonna lie, again, initially everything was going right for this film for me. The tracks, it just helped even more so with the smoothness of a biopic about Bob Marley. But here's going to be where my first criticism comes in. Well, it's not really more so criticism than it is a worry, and that is that the music, the more the movie went on, the more it was happening more often, where I was okay, is it gonna, granted, yes, I was here to see a Bob Marley movie, and I love his music, but is this going to be one of those biopics of a musician where it's just constantly just overkill with their music, where it's yes, I enjoy the music, I love the music, I came for this musician, but I want to see a Bob Marley story. I want to see a Bob Marley biopic. And the best way I can label this movie is that it feels very Hollywood safe of a biopic. The next thing I'm going to talk about is more about Kingsley Ben-Adir. I've been getting that mixed up the whole time I've been seeing the name. And that is that, well, sure, when I saw him on screen, his physical appearance, it didn't affect me or didn't rub me the wrong way as much as I thought it would. What I will say about the character Bob Marley in this movie is that, while I do think that Kingsley Ben-Adir is overall fine in this movie, I think he's fun to watch, he's enjoyable, he has good charisma, especially getting into the second or third act, which we will talk about eventually. I do think that just overall the character of Bob Marley, at least, up until the film gets to its peak, he does feel just a little bit animated in this film, where he does stand out in a lot of important degrees, but just as a biopic, for all the dramatic subjects and all the heavy and tense material that the film had in it, it just didn't have that depth or that effect on me that I feel it should have had. Like throughout the whole movie, I just kept feeling like this should be as gritty, or this should be like as disturbing at points as, like, for example, the NWA biopic Straight Outta Compton was. Like, I mean, sure, granted, Bob Marley's music isn't like as hardcore as like NWA's music, but from what we were shown and how I feel I should have felt, I didn't feel. The film also just didn't feel like as concrete as a genuine Bob Marley biopic, more than it did, again, just feel like a safe Hollywood movie wanting to get money out of a Bob Marley movie. And that is in the sense where it didn't feel like a film exactly based on Bob Marley's life. There are important story elements to this movie, but it felt more than anything like the movie just chose certain things to tell. It felt like the movie wanted to tell what it thought was the most important things to tell and the most interesting things to tell about Bob Marley, more so than actually telling his story. And it goes further more into like feeling like just a Hollywood biopic movie where it feels like they wanted to make a movie with this type of character, with this type of like dramatic story, more so than really appreciating Bob Marley. Again, up until like the movie's peak, that is. Which I will say, as like a casual audience who is just going into this movie as a fan of Bob Marley to hear the Bob Marley music, see some concert segments, see how well like Kingsley Ben-Adir can pull off performing as Bob Marley, it is just one of the most important things, give or take. It is also equally some of the biggest things to look forward to as far as Kingsley Ben-Adir's opportunities, as far as strengths performing as this character. And some of these, concert like segments, they do live up to that. They're energetic, they're adrenaline inducing, and like all biopics do, focusing on a musician. At the end of the movie, it does show like some actual footage from the real Bob Marley in his like concert persona. And yeah, dude, it makes me want to rewatch this movie just for those scenes. Like, they're packed, man. They're fun. And touching more on the film's peak, this is also when the film is just its most impactful, most structured, best acted, just from all around. And by the end, I kind of feel about this film how I felt like about Lisa Frankenstein, where I could give it a pass. There was plenty I liked, but there was that like middle half of the movie, or just like as a movie in general, just watching through it, there's a lot that just didn't really feel like that important to me as I know it should have been. And again, if I'm being just brutally fair, I am feeling more mixed than anything about this movie. And yeah, guys, that's just my honest opinion on this movie. It just feels very Hollywood safe for a biopic. There's important stuff in the movie, and there's stuff I really liked. And overall, I do think that this movie is like fine, give or take. It just didn't leave me with that like lasting impression or that impact of like, this is the Bob Marley biopic. But yes, guys, that's gonna do it for my review of the Bob Marley movie, One Love. Let me know what you guys thought about this movie for those that did see it, which I'm just gonna take a guess. I feel like a lot of people are gonna be seeing this movie because I was actually trying to see the earliest showing of this movie and I couldn't. It was basically sold the fuck out, and future showings throughout this day, they were sold out as well, which I know there's a new Marvel movie out. Yeah, Madam Web. Right, yeah, that's gonna fill the fuck up, sure. So I feel like a lot of people will see this movie, and again, it's not bad. It's fine, it just feels a little bit safer than I feel it should have been. But yes, guys, that is gonna do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.